My friend Alexander Pärleros over at Framgångspodden, one of Sweden's largest podcasts, has now gathered several of the life-changing profiles that he interviews in his podcast, but now under a new roof called framgångsakademin.se, where they provide longer and more practical courses. So go to framgångsakademin.se if you want to change yourself, help yourself develop, and reach your goals. Hello everyone and welcome to How the Pod, the place where we pick the brains of changemakers about tech and society. My name is Heidi Harman and today we're talking to Heaven Bereket about generational wealth, blockchain, how to leave the corporate life to start a charity of your dreams. Welcome ever so much, Heaven Bereket.
Thank you.
So good to have you here. It's been we've been wanting to have you here for ages. But so you live in Stockholm, Sweden. You started a charity in Ethiopia. Should we start talking a little bit about your background and how did we get here?
Yeah, sure. So it all started, what most people don't know by now is that I'm actually a pharmacist. So that's how the organization Bambino Foundation started. So during my studies becoming a pharmacist, halfway through that education, we had a professor talking about viruses and bacteria, and that 500,000 children under the age of 6 was dying due to this virus called rotavirus. And the only treatment that those children actually needed was not a very expensive pill. It was just water, sugar, and salt for 3 days, and then that kid will be fine, like nothing else happens. And it happens for children here in Sweden as well, but we don't talk about it that much because it's not crucial or anything emergency or acute in that sense. But in other countries, of course, the lack of just water, sugar, and salt is very expensive, and you have to be in a hospital. So due to that, a lot of children under the age of 6 is dying. So I thought that maybe there's something here that I can do, because I received a little bit of money from a car accident I had with my sister in the United States. And I was thinking, I was very blessed, and I was so thankful for just wanting to do something back. And a few years after that, I thought, like, this is perfect. This is the way I can contribute to children. And then I started this initiative, and in the beginning it was supposed to be like just a one-time project. I didn't intend to be this 10 years later, a huge organization and a trading school attached to it and so on. I just thought it was going to be one time. I would just buy a lot of things, put it in a container, and just go to Ethiopia and just dump it here. And they're like, okay, I did my part. And when I traveled there with my father, it was a true eye-opener, because even if I have African descent, it was growing up in Sweden since I was 1, listening to the media here, reading the books I'm supposed to do, is a very narrow-minded brain. So when I came there and I was like, wow, it's like I have no clue. I have literally no clue how things works. And I decided that I can do more, basically. So in the beginning, I started to get grants. I started to get like Pharmacists Without Borders, started to support the initiative. And my whole mission was to make it more sustainable, because there are already a lot of charities and other organizations built by people who live there doing something for the community. And I just didn't want to start another charity in their neighborhood. I just wanted to see how I could support their mission, because I think like supporting and empowering the people who are already there is the way to make it more sustainable than doing like maybe we have Red Cross, the UN, who's more like in crisis, but doesn't give any sustainable change over time, which is a very important thing for me, because I always think about the generational wealth. I'm building the things I'm building now, not for me per se, it's for like my grandkids. So after a while, it was huge exhausting. I think you know, Heidi, trying to get grants and, begging people for donation and get them involved is a lot of work. And if you don't find it happy to do that, it's even more energy draining. So I just thought that I need some other way to get money, basically, because I didn't want to make a promise that I will support these kids, and then 3 years later, because I didn't have the money from the grants, it was done, that I couldn't do more. And by that time, I also started to I bought my first Bitcoin together with other people. I worked as a phone salesperson, and they were mining. I was not. I thought it was too complicated. But a few of them were trading, and trading for me was a new concept. So I started to study economics because I didn't know a lot about stocks and options and funds. And so I started to see the history behind trading and cryptocurrencies and Forex. It's just a new way how to trade. And thanks to technology, we also, as like a private person, you can have also accessible to actually start trading. But most people don't know that having money on the bank means that they have traders in the bank who trades money. They use your savings accounts to trade, earn more money, and then they will give you this whack-ass interest rate, and they will earn like a lot of money. That's why they want the money in their bank, basically. That's why, because they want to trade on it and make money out of it. But now, thanks to technology, you can actually do that by yourself. And I thought, loving math and statistics, there was just more energy. I spend less energy doing that, trading, getting cash, and put it into Bambino Foundation. And years later, I started to teach others, and just paying for the education, they support Bambino Foundation. So this was basically how I just trying to find a more sustainable way. Now they call it social entrepreneurship. For me, it was just like, how am I gonna make this work if it's gonna be sustainable? So that's the journey of the Bambino Foundation. Now this is 10th year. Now we're building a clinic, a housing for women who have been in abuse. So it's in a hospital for children and women.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really remarkable because I don't want to talk about age, but you are still very young. And there's so many people who try to think like, oh, when I go into my pension, I'm going to do this. And you've done it. I mean, you had a very successful career rolling out and digitizing the Swedish pharmacies, as I understand. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I've been a part of it's one of the biggest pharmacy chains. So I've been doing a lot of them from student time, and I've been a pharmacy manager in the same time. And now I'm also in the headquarters educating people to be more hireable, be more productive, and more, and how to become even a boss, basically, a good boss.
But what made you, you had a pretty safe thing going on. What made you dare to step out and do something that is a pretty high-risk project?
Well, I think that's the thing. The reason, because I'm still very young, but I started to think about this term of generational wealth and why my future, when you're like 15, you're starting to get close to 18, you're going to get your driver's license, you're supposed to get out of the world. And it hit me very hard because I saw that the starting point for me, comparing to other people in my class, was a huge difference. And I was also one of these students. I didn't go to 4th grade. I went from 4th grade to 6th grade. So I love school. I was like this huge nerd, basically. I was like as quick as possible. I just wanted to get everything finished. And still, I found that the starting point for me to get out in this world without my parents was a huge difference between my classmates. And this started to get me thinking like, okay, how is that possible? For example, why did she get 100,000 Swedish crown, let's say $10,000 for those who are listening in English, in stocks when they're 18? I basically get zero. How is that even possible? And when I analyzed that as a teenager, I thought, okay, so it's her grandparents basically who made it possible for her or for him to have this starting point that already gives that person an advantage when it comes to, thrive in this world and whatever you want to do. So for me then, I said like, okay, so I was very pissed in the beginning because I was still a hormonal teenager. And then I came to an acceptance and then like, you know what, okay, this is what I got, basically. I need to work with what I got. And I'm okay with being that grandparent to start that, to make sure that my grandchildren would not have will have a better starting point. So this has been my leading star in literally everything I've been doing. And then thanks to technology and the love I have for technology made it so I also can enjoy it while. So maybe now I'm more like the parent, who I am, because I have 4 kids, 2 of my own and 2 bonus children. So today I can be the parent when it comes to, harvesting whatever work you have done. So maybe now my great-grandchildren can have a better starting point. So it's just been a leading star on how to make this possible for the next generation ahead. But also I have a huge heart for children. So I want to make sure that also have basic access to like healthcare and education. And I want to support people who live in those communities and networks, not being there like just giving out handouts money. I just want to make sure they can thrive in where they are, in which place they are. So yeah, and I'll see where this takes us. So that's like, it depends. I don't care literally what it is, just that I like reach the goal. So I don't mind like if it means that I need to do things that I'm not comfortable with or know anything about. If I need to ask a lot of people to how to do like 1, 2, 3 steps, I don't even think about the risk. It's more like getting the information. And I think people in general are very helpful. And then thanks to technology, I've been connecting to so many people, never seeing them like, in person, just asking them, like, because I was a hobby programmer as well. So I was like, just asking, how do I do a green button? And people would just like reply, just give out their knowledge. And I think that has been one of the success factors, that just keep asking, and people normally are very kind and helpful. So I don't feel like a risk. But I think if you're like in your own bubble, it feels bigger than it actually is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think especially the developer community is super generous with knowledge. So, I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious. You're great at teaching yourself, at learning and asking for help and getting to where you need to. So how did you start teaching yourself about trading? Like which were the like 3 first steps after you came up with this brilliant analyze?
Well, how I started was basically because I worked as a phone salesperson. So it was a lot of white dudes who was doing, they were building their own computers, they were mining, they talked about cryptocurrencies that I've never heard of. And they said, if you want to, and I was just very curious. It's like, what is this? Why haven't I heard anyone doing this? Well, and then they started to get out information. I was like, okay. And we worked together, basically. That was my extra job during my studies. So I met them quite often during the week. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, you know what? This mining thing, building my own computer, is just not for me. And then one of them, shout out to Iggy Gullstrand, said, but you can trade as well. You don't have to do this if you think this or hard. I was like, oh, really? What's trading? And then when he explained it to me, it was like, well, you can earn money depending on the price. And it doesn't matter if the price goes up and down or down, you will still earn money. Now, this was before I started economics. So I was like, wait a minute. But basically, usually you taught that shit has to go up to earn more money. It's like, how can you earn money when the price is getting low? And I was like, really didn't understand. I found it very intriguing. And then he showed me, and I got very excited because it was statistics and analyze these charts. Again, I'm a nerd in that way. It was very fun, like trying to predict where the price between 2 currencies will hit and trying to understand the language behind candlesticks. And I found it very intriguing because I thought that finally my love for mathematics and analysis can be used in this sense. And then when I found out the history about trading, that people think it's a new thing, but it is not. We have people who be trading stocks with our own money in the bank for years. 30 years ago, trading with options was like very like, oh, it's like the cryptocurrency for that time. So trading with cryptocurrency is just a new thing to trade. Way back, we traded with just goods like rice and oil, and still some countries is still trading. And you do trade as well when you exchanging your currencies, just normal currencies when you're going from one country to another. So the trading in that sense is a huge thing when it comes into the world economics. And I was like, okay. And then I just started to talk to other traders. I've met so many people. So I've been trading for 30 years. I've been trading for 20 years. And the skill set of trading is basically the same when you're also trading cryptocurrencies. So it's nothing revolutionary. I just found it very interesting and just trade Forex and cryptocurrencies.
To me, it's remarkable how you've managed to combine both the knowledge of trading, but also like selling the knowledge in order to build your charity. It's really remarkable and so clever what you've managed to create. I think it's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
But for people who are maybe a little bit more junior to you, what advice would you give to them?
Well, first off, when it comes to junior, because what we first do is trying to understand the person who will start our courses. As you know, you have been to my courses. If you have any type of experience trade with stocks or funds into that kind, then you might understand the language a little bit more when it started to trade with cryptocurrencies and Forex. But have you never done it before? It's like 3 months of studying a new language, which is frustrating in the beginning, because in the beginning you always feel a little bit more dumb when you started something new. It's a little bit more difficult, but basically in the beginning it's a new language. Every term you're just saying. I know that at one time I just used one sentence in the trading school, we basically just feel like they're talking in someone other language. So the first 3 months is just studying the language on the tradings, knowing the history, knowing what candlesticks, so what is a wicks, how do you analyze, trying to be a little bit more brave. And what we do as well during that period is we also have a demo account where people can start trade on like fake money, just to get to know where the greed level is. Everyone is greedy in some way with just different levels, and women are better traders than men because they're more they're better risk management. Because if I just get a woman they say that women are more or less risk averse, but I think with the right tools they actually do the best calculations when it comes to the analysis. So they are literally in the beginning so much better traders. Even coders, they're also better because it's more cleaner codes as well, and it's more structured. It's easy. So that's basically what we're trying to. So a lot of people think that trading is a lot of doing this skill set of analysis, but that's actually the easiest part. The hardest part, and what we spend a lot of time with, is the knowledge about it, but also greediness, and also like disbelief on what money is and stuff like that. We spend a lot of more time coaching the mind rather than saying like, if you just do this, this, and this, then you get to the point. But just changing the behavior and the mind into trying to understand what money is and how this huge national economics actually is set out to be is more and more time requiring energy from us and from the team.
Mm. And for somebody more advanced, what tips would you give, or suggestions or ideas?
Yeah, well, if you're more advanced and you've already been trading, I don't know, maybe stocks, it's a little bit different. So when in stocks, you have different types of stocks where you get the money at maybe end of the year or the quarter. But when trading is actually, because we have like something we call selling or buying. We do that in stocks as well. But when you do with the stocks, you actually own something. In trading, you don't do that when you trade Forex and cryptocurrencies. What you're actually trading is you're betting basically on what direction the price between two currencies are on their way. Are they going up or are they going down? And if your analysis is right, then you will get the money instantly, which is a difference if you have stocks. So you just have to know that difference, and then you can actually use the same style and even the indicators and all other tools you have for starting trading Forex and cryptocurrencies. But even though you're advanced, I would recommend to start with a demo account with just fake money, just to test your knowledge and test your technique as well.
Yeah, And regarding the part of starting and setting up a foundation in another country, let's say outside of Europe, or maybe just outside of Sweden for the record, really, what would be your advice to the more junior people, and what would it be to the more senior people?
Well, what I know is, because I think I'm a very good, I see myself as a good person who asks a lot of questions, and then I do that. I try to find people already done the route. Like, I don't believe I'm first in anything. I literally believe that some people have maybe tried, come that far, and then just quit, or maybe even done the entire journey. So my mission at the beginning is to get that knowledge from people who's already done the part or have some information. And even if you think that, oh, this person doesn't have that information for me, you probably have to get some information that, okay, I don't want to do that part. So also getting the knowledge of how you don't want to do it or set up things. I think that's a very good knowledge as well. So I would absolutely first get information from people who already done the route. And most people don't know, being in Sweden as a country actually has like offices in different continents. And the entire mission is to help Swedish citizens to start and engage with other countries' economics. So for example, if you want to do anything in the continent of Africa, your first stop should be in Kenya. The reason why is because Sweden as a country has their African office, with quotation, in Nairobi, Kenya, together with Norway and Denmark. So an entire mission, they get tax money, is to help and support and empower Swedish citizens with any type of idea they have to start in any country in Africa. And you have the same in Asia, and you have the same in South America. So,
and is this the trading or export-import rådet, or
no? It's Business Sweden, basically.
Right, of course.
The Business Sweden African office. So if you want to have any type of research to do, like how does people manage money, the fintech industry, how does that work in this country, they're supposed to help you with that. So that's what will be my advice. Get that information because there's out there. And I think that's the hardest part, because I didn't know anything about this. And even if you Google it, it will not show up. It was basically just through LinkedIn, Facebook, asking for people, Googling after investing in Africa as a Swedish person. And then you will get, basically Google has been my best friend when it comes to that.
Google is a wonderful thing. Couldn't agree more. Did you have any role models when you started out?
Tons. I have a lot of role models. A few of them I've been honored to meet, and a few of them I don't have to meet. It's just digital persons knowing that I like what they do and how they do it. And I think that's a very powerful thing today as well, that today we don't have just role models within growing or building or scaling something. But like beforehand, when I was young, it's more like celebrities that were doing some music or art. But now we have finance influencers, we have all type of other influencers, and that basically have been the way I've been also learning. I might not be connecting with them like we do now, but they might have a podcast, or they might have a social media profile somewhere, or they have a book or whatever. That's been my role model on how to think and start to challenge my own self. And I've been lucky to meet some of them in the future, like in my life. But I get a whole lot of new role models all the time, because I think it's just amazing. Even my kids has been my role model, because I got them very young. So they also been challenging my mind quite a lot when it comes to patience. So, but there's a lot of been within different types of sectors that when I search for information, and sometimes I can find an email or a social media profile, you can say something, they might not answer, and sometimes they will. So
that's super clever. And regarding the work that you do on the ground in Ethiopia, like, could you tell me, like, it's a clinic, it's what else do you have under the umbrella? Because I remember once when we spoke, you said, oh, well, we got some land that was kind of IKEA land, which was a little bit further away. but you found a good price. You want to tell me a little bit more about that entire picture?
Yeah. So we get 4,000 hectare right outside Addis Ababa to make it, to build a school. And then to get connecting to that school, it will be a mini clinic who will support not only the community around the school in one end, and the other end it will be like the healthcare we have in schools here in Sweden, and it will be 2 different entries. Then we have another land that will be the clinic and the housing for, the housing will be for women who has been in an abusive relationship, and the clinic will be for children and women. So this is what happens now. And that plan, actually, I thought it was going to be when I was a pension, as you said in the beginning. I thought that was going to be happen when I'm 60. But it happened earlier. But the building is getting a little bit slower due to the pandemic. But at the beginning, the plan with the Bambino, which we still are doing, is supporting organizations doing something for kids in different types of countries and in communities. For example, we had this one woman who has a school for children who cannot afford it. And she contacted me when she got up to the 4th grade, because she started to see that the girls would not get the attendance in school was actually dropped. And she talked to the girls, and the reason was because some of them started to get menstruation, the period, and they didn't feel comfortable in school because it was the same toilet for guys and girls. So what we did was we supported them and built the school. So we had just 2 bathrooms, just one for the girls, one for the boys. But we also did a room for a school nurse where she had just easy hygienic products, not only just for the girls, but also for the boys. So just supporting them in that way so they can do better. And actually the attendance got from, I think it was 25% more attendance just due to those changes. So the Bambino is never like an organization to build their own orphanage or stuff like that. Our mission is to find those great initiatives in different types of countries. Now we have in Kenya, in Ghana, in Ethiopia, who do something for the community when it comes regarding to the kids in that neighborhood, and trying to see how we can support them and do more of the goodness they've already done.
And the details are below. We have all the links and everything if anybody wants to look it up and support. Yeah. And also the links for your education, of course. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any last things you'd like to add that I forgot? Should I ask you anything else?
Oh, good question. Not really, but if people want to know more on whatever, you can also be just supportive. If they have the idea, they can just contact me. I can see what I can do, because I still do that. Even if it's been 10 years in this business now, I remember how it was being alone, not having the funds, not having the knowledge on where I should go or where should I start. And I have been very lucky that I have people who just said, okay, you can do this, you can do that. And so if anyone who has anything, they want to just talk and ask any questions, just contact me and I'll see. If I can't help you, I'll probably have someone who can support you in some way.
Super. And with that, I think we're going to say an amazing big thank you to you for taking time and talking to us. And
thank you, Heidi.
Best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So this episode is in partnership with ProgressData.io, a research-based tool for HR managers to measure what matters when it comes to gender and diversity, pay gap, and creating parity reports with actionable improvement suggestions. That's ProgressData.io.